I think white people are so triggered by black joy because they have zero control over it. And white people are all about control. And anything they don't get to control and manage and dictate freaks them the hell out.
They don't get to be the leader.
The real reason that white people, well, some white people get upset or like don't understand when they see black people in spaces that they're in, or black people in positions of authority or advancing and things like that. The reason that they relate it to like, well, it must be like you're getting something that you're not qualified for. Like it is racism, but there's another underlying part of that. And it really boils down to the fact that they can't fathom a reality where you advance in life, where you get a position, where you move up at all without stealing something or stepping on somebody or exploiting somebody. They can't, in their brain, they don't have any recall within their collective history of any time period where they've been able to build without stealing or massacring or doing something to somebody else. So like when they see another group of people, whether that be black people or POC, in positions that they feel like, well, no, that's my position. And when they see them, they think that, well, you couldn't have got it any other way besides taking it from somebody and like stealing it. There's no way you actually worked for it, because in their history and present day, they don't have, even within the country itself, standing up the United States, they don't have any like precedent of like existing, like moving up, like building without taking something from somebody, without stealing. Like they have no creativity in their mind. Well, not even creativity, they have no recall and lack the imagination to imagine that being a possibility. So when they see a black person or a POC in spaces and things like that, it's got to be the DEI thing, even though it don't make sense. That's the only thing they have in their brain. It's like the only way you able to make it, the only way I know you make it in this world is by stealing stuff and like, you know, exploiting and like taking things away from people that belong to them. Take things, and that's it. That's all they got. So yeah, it's the racism, of course, but it's also, there's another part of that psychologically where they just don't have the recall. There's no precedent set yet, and they refuse, I don't know, to set a precedent where they can, you know, advance, evolve without exploiting or stealing from other people across the globe and right next door, you know. So that's it. They just can't understand in their brain and just don't connect. Like, how were you able to make it as a black person? And then to look at a black person and know like black people's history of subjugation and oppression, and then see you actually moving, they're like, no, there's absolutely no how you fucking doing that. Blows their brain. So they had to come up with something, and the only thing they come up is what they were able to do since the beginning of days. And by the way, yes, that is stealing from other people, taking all the things, culture, resources, land. That's it. That's all they have, unfortunately for them, because eventually you keep resting on the fact you got to steal while other people making advancements on their own, pulling their own selves up by the bootstraps, even without fucking boots, making the boots themselves. Come a day where you don't even know how to make boots. You don't know how to do anything. Okay, y'all.
All right, white folk, if you've ever wondered what black people feel about you, today's February 25th Black History teaching is titled, What Many Black Americans Feel About White Americans and Why, okay? Let's talk, because I'm tired of all these fake conversations. You know, people always want to ask, why do black people seem distant or cautious or skeptical towards white people? They usually, when you all ask that as white people, you're usually expecting some type of emotional answer. But the response is not emotional, y'all. It's historical. It's based on history. It's sociological. And it's a pattern. See, first thing, black people are not a monolith. We're not all the same. Some blacks are married to white spouses, right? Some of us have white best friends. Some of us work in white dominated spaces every day and thrive. But there is still something that exists underneath of that, y'all. And it's called collective memory. You hear that, white folk? Collective memory. Let's talk about sociology. That's why I just love sociology, the study of people and concepts and things, because the sociology of trust. Trust is built through consistent safety over time. Let me repeat that. Trust is built over consistent safety over time. So as a parent, your kid knows, oh, my mom is going to feed me every evening at 5 because you've consistently been feeding Jimmy at 5 for the past 3 years. So you have built up a trust. your kid knows that based on history of my mother and what she's done for me in the past 3 years, she's consistent with what she's going to do today. Well, that's how it is with Black people and our feelings towards white folk. If a group experiences enslavement, as Black folk did, legal segregation, voter suppression, housing discrimination, medical exploitation over centuries now, over centuries, our actual nervous system, the nervous system of that group, we adapt. So that's not opinion. That's called trauma science. Okay. Communities develop protective instincts. It's for the sake of survival, right? And America has a long documented record of racial hierarchy. See, this isn't ancient history. The Civil Rights Act passed in 1964. That's not even one lifetime ago. You understand? So let's talk about data, because some of you all are really stuck on data. Studies from Pew Research consistently show a significant racial trust gap in America. Black Americans report lower levels of trust in institutions, law enforcement, and government compared to white Americans. That distrust didn't appear out of nowhere. It follows experiences, and experiences follow policy. So let's talk about economics and pattern recognition. Let's talk about redlining. Redlining wasn't a rumor. It was federal policy. The GI Bill disproportionately excluded Black veterans. Mass incarceration, police disproportionately affected Black communities. When you see patterns repeat across generations over and over and over again, you don't call it coincidence. You call it structure. And structure shapes perception, you all. So what do many Black people think? We don't necessarily, not all of us, some of us do now, but not all of us think hate. Most of us don't think revenge, but caution. Oh, yeah. Many Black Americans operate with what I call earned awareness. And what this is it's understanding that individual kindness does not erase systemic patterns. See, so that's why we can come to work and smile in your face with you white folk, and all along we know from what our mama, our grandmama, our granddaddy, our great-grandparents, and everything, not only what they've told us, but what we've seen and experienced. I can't trust her. White man talk with what? Fourth tongue, right? We can't trust what you say. You can smile in our face. You can do all that you want to do. Take us out for drinks, whatever. But history never lies. So, earned awareness is what we operate in. It's to understand that individual kindness does not erase systemic patterns. You can like the individual white person. I can still like you as a white person and still question white systems. That's nuance. You understand? That's how some interracial couples really make it and survive, because they realize, listen, this white person or this white person may not be racist. However, there are systems put in place that are. That nuance makes people uncomfortable, though. So let me speak plainly to you all, okay? If you're white and you never personally harmed a Black person, right? Consciously, that you know of. This conversation is not accusing you, but if you benefit from structures that are historically unequal and you refuse to examine that, that's where attention lies, y'all. See, some Black people don't automatically extend full trust because historically, automatic trust was dangerous. It would get you killed, okay? Trust me. History has shown that many a people trusted many a white person and ended up hung, lynched, killed, sold. Here's the balance. Many Black Americans also believe in coalition, in solidarity, and real allyship. But allyship requires some things, you all. If you're an ally to the Black people, to us, you have to first listening without being defensive. That's first and foremost. If you can listen without get defensive, then you have a way to be an ally. Number two, your way to allyship is acknowledging historical harm. Can't act like it didn't happen, y'all. Number three, speaking up when racism shows up. You can't just be silent anymore if you want to be an ally. And number four, understanding that proximity to Blackness and Black culture is not the same as understanding the Black experience. I get sick and tired of some of you white women telling me, but I married a Black man and my children are Black. And just because you sleep with a Black person doesn't make you Black, honey. Even through penal injection, you ain't Black. So I don't want to hear that. Well, I know what it feels like to be Black. I have a Black husband. Girl, please. That right there shows you're not ready to be an ally because you don't want to look deep and honestly in yourself and realize that there is a form of white privilege even in saying that. And that makes me nervous when white mothers talk like that, because that tells me they're not willing to do the work to educate their half Black children. So let me close with this. This is not about guilt. It's about awareness. If you want to understand why some Black Americans are cautious and why we are, and rightfully so, stop asking, why don't they trust us? And you need to start asking, what happened that made this distrust happen? History answers that question clearly. And healing starts with honesty, not defensiveness. So for the most part, white people, if I had to sum it up really quickly, we as Black people, we really don't think about you all at all. When we think of you, the majority of us, it is how to survive and thrive around a race of people who historically never cared about us. How do we survive when the enemy is amongst us? That's how we have to, for our own survival, we have to always keep our head on a swivel. It's just the truth. See, you have the luxury and the complexion for the protection of going to any city. And when you travel as Black people, we have to make sure, wait a minute, this is a sundown town? They're going to be burning crosses and lynching Negroes in this town after dark? That's why you all white people are so free and trusting and you leave your doors unlocked, because you have the complexion for the protection. But we have to worry if we leave our door unlocked from great-great-grandmother and them, is somebody going to burn a cross? They're going to come in here and shoot me because I know how to read? Yeah. Our nervous system has been tense like this, and we passed it down to our children in generation to generation. Every day I drop my kids off at school, I say, have a great day, have fun, and keep your head on a swivel. That's what it's like being Black in America. Happy Black History Month.
Thank you. Thank you for this information right here. So let me give you the context from an American braider. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm just willing to talk about it now, because at one point I was absolutely shell-shocked. So they are calling Black Americans ghetto, lazy, ratchet, and akata, which basically means outsider or someone who is removed from their culture, basically. I heard it a lot when I was in college, actually, more than anything. But it was used more for folks that were born in this country, but their parents weren't. Anyway, whatever. So I've worked in several different types of shops. I've worked in a shop where all of the braiders were African. I've worked in a shop where I was the only braider. I worked in shops where there was a mixture of folks. And in every single one of the scenarios, I have learned something that is very interesting. Number one, shout out to those young ladies who were the first braiding shop that I worked at, where everyone was African except for me. So I just kept my mouth closed and pretended that I didn't, they used to tell me, you look like you are Fula. Fula. Okay, I'll take it. So I wouldn't say anything, number one, because I was still learning some of the different techniques that I know now, like, interlock. Some of you all call it something else now. Just all the different types of styles that I learned, like 18 different types. Anyway, so I came in knowing how to do individuals and Senegalese twists that some people now call rope twists, and I learned how to apply them properly without the braid at the base and how to keep it in to the scalp, close to the scalp. Anyway, all of that, and it was a pretty reputable shop that I was at when I started. Well, anyway, I witnessed early on people wouldn't keep their appointments. None of the clients were African. They were all African American. They wouldn't keep their appointments. They would come in and be rude right off the rip. Like, I got stuff to do. You need to hurry up, or wanting unrealistic expectations. You got that much hair, and we know you don't have any edges, and we trying to tell you we can't grip that, or you're experiencing alopecia areata, and you want us to try to build something here that's already too heavy for the amount of hair that you do have, and you cussing us out, and you telling us what you want, and then when we do it, then you come back and you mad because everything we told you that was going to happen did happen. And then you're coming in with magazines and pictures on your phone that tell us exactly what you want. Well, in my day it was magazines. They would come in with the magazine and they would say this is what they wanted. We would tell them, what it would actually cost. And then they would argue you up and down about how much it's going to cost when your head is big as the side of the moon. And you want us to take 15 hours to braid your hair for $75. I ain't that damn desperate. And this was a common running theme of people coming in and being rude and being nasty to these women. And let me be clear, the women that I did meet, they didn't come to America to braid. They came to school to go to medical school. They came to school to do nursing and to have a profession. And they braided on the side so that they could have enough money to go to school, or so that they could have flexibility in their schedule. And when they were done, they would wash their hands of braiding. I learned a lot from sitting under these sisters from Africa, and some brothers as well. Some of their techniques and the rolling and the twisting and so forth, of Senegalese twisting, how to do it properly and so forth. It was an amazing, amazing, amazing experience. No, I am not in any way saying that it is okay to call people out. But if this is what they are experiencing on a regular basis, I experienced it as a braider. And it was not fun, being called out your name and being told I'm not paying that. So we had to get to the point where we had to ask you for 50% up front. So number one, if you didn't show up, it was non-refundable. And number two, we had to raise our prices because, and here was the other thing. We would actually do a consultation, because some people would come in, hair broke off, edges, don't have no, just all kind of damage and stuff. And then, if something were to happen to your head, then you're looking at us all sideways. So there were different things that we had to learn how to do to protect ourselves, including having you to, tell us what you were going to do and sign. If you wanted the work done, you had to sign a little piece of paper, and, then you were on your own, so that the salon could protect themselves. Then when I went on and decided to get my own chair, I was braiding at my sister's shop, and the amount of people that saw that I was just this American woman that could braid hair, and I'm good, let's be clear, was, I can remember $150. I ain't paying no $150 for that. I got this, what I got right here. So that was one of the biggest reasons why I left, outside of my hands and so forth were really starting to bother me. Because after a while you get in a habit, and my pinky would kind of hang out, and I would go in town. I would go in, just doing the da 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 da. And then when you're done, they're walking out with a full, beautiful head of hair, and I got $100 for 18 hours worth of work. No, I did that maybe once or twice because I needed a bill to be paid, and it was always cash on hand. And so I said, that's the last time that I'm going to do that. And I will be honest with you, I have never braided a head and never felt like my work was garbage. Even when I was braiding as a teenager, I immediately found myself braiding under the tutelage of some greats, and taking additional courses so that I could learn how to do it better. And then I realized that was not what I wanted to do. So I started doing what the American girl, the African girls did. I made a decision to go back to school, because there was no way I was going to continue to make that a long-term opportunity for myself. And they all said it. They're, oh no, we come here so that we can go to school. We don't come here, or my husband, and he's moved here in the career and I need something to do. And I'm not planning on doing this for the rest of my life. This is just something for me to hold over until X, Y, and Z. And so I learned, and then they explained how braiding is done in their country. They said we didn't know until we got here. Now, mind you, this was in the early 90s. They were like, we don't do this. We don't even know what a master braider is. We don't know what that is. You make that up in this country. It was so funny. It was so funny back then, But now they would say, you American girls, you cannot braid. Oh my gosh, such good times. But I learned a lot. And this American girl can. The only thing I would do right now is teach. You couldn't get me to braid a full head of hair unless, of course, I birthed you or you my grandchild. I would, no. Or if I was in dire straits and I just had to braid a head full of hair, I could do it. But to just be doing it to make something, no. Because I need my peace of mind. And the level of abuse that I saw from my American sisters, I could do without that. I could do without it. So we have to kind of look at both things. I am not overlooking the fact that there are folks from Africa who think that they're better. I just think we need to look a little bit deeper and find out what's really going on and hold ourselves accountable to treating people who are providing a service to us much better than we do. That's just it. That's why I walked away. I was like, oh, hell no. You're not taking me down through there. But thank you so much for the clarification on what this is all about. I appreciate that.
I don't remember seeing a lot of us celebrating and cheering it on. I know that was happening, but what I did see a lot of was rewind back a few months ago when this all started to come out and happen. A lot of us were saying, oh, we're safe. We were born here. We've been here since the beginning. We're not included. We're not at risk. And I'm like, do not ever assume safety. Because I knew months ago that everything that we were seeing was a testing ground for what they want to do to more people. They like to test our reactions to see what we will do, and then they'll carry it out on a larger scale. So I knew all along what's happening to these people is going to start happening to us as well. Because they've been carrying out all kinds of strategies to try to provoke us and get us out in the streets so that they can have an excuse to mow down. But we're not falling for it. We're holding the line. We're sitting back in the cut. So now, after months and months of trying to provoke us so that they could round us up, they decided they're going to take another approach. They're just going to come to us and snatch us up. It's starting in the shy. It's going to continue to spread. And we will be sadly mistaken if we assume that we are not going to.
Black people saved me. And it's not some tagline. I was born on the streets of South Korea. I begged for money every day, door to door. I got taken from my biological family, put in a home, adopted or sold to an American family that had really great intentions, but they were ill prepared and the system was just messed up. And life didn't really become easier, it became tougher. But black people saved me. Their culture, their music, their resilience. And one day, I hope everyone sees it.
The last few days I've been sitting with the acquittal of Rick Chow in the killing of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmick Belton. But I've also been sitting with these conversations I've been hearing about the conviction of Carmelo Anthony. Honestly, what's disturbing to me is just as much as these cases themselves is what they are revealing about race and power and punishment and this deep fracture between the Black and Asian community. Listen, as a Pinay from Stockton, I want to be very, very clear with y'all. I am unapologetically pro-Black and pro-Brown. That means I fight for our voices to be seen and heard and validated. That means I strive to be someone who reduces harm to our communities. But that means that I also got to acknowledge and apologize for the blatant anti-Blackness within Asian communities, including my own. Anti-Blackness is real. It's built into the structure of our families. It's built into our businesses, our beauty standards, our media consumption, our silence, our proximity to whiteness politics. Don't think our Black communities don't see this. Also see that Asian communities are granted legitimacy and sympathy and protection and proximity to power in ways that they are denied. When Black communities express rage, distrust, anger, exhaustion, or frustration towards us, I understand where that comes from. Historically, that pain didn't just happen. Look, if us Asians are serious about coalition with our Black community, we have to stop becoming defensive every time Black communities name the harm that they've experienced from us. Look, all that is, it's reckoning, it's accountability. That in and of itself is not harm. And to my own Asian community, you stop responding to Black pain with mockery or antagonism or ego. You know that one viral video daring Black communities to boycott Asian-owned businesses? Fuck that and fuck him. That is not solidarity. That is not coalition. That is ego, and that's white supremacy in an Asian body. We have to refuse these false, dominant narratives right now, in this moment. Stop flattening all Black people into violent beings and stop flattening brown folks into white supremacists. Communities aren't monoliths. Look, I think part of why I refuse this flattening is because I'm from Stockton. Okay? My city is a lot of things all at one time. My city is hood and it's progressive. It's messy and it's beautiful. It's wounded and it's brilliant. And our coalition here is not theoretical. You see Black, Filipino, Southeast Asian, Chicano, Pacific Islander, multiracial communities just moving through life together around here every single day. You see it in our schools. You see it in our neighborhoods. You see it at our community events. You see it in our classrooms. I see it in my classroom, and you see it in our levels of leadership around here. You see the fractals, they're everywhere. And it's personal for me too. I attended my nephew's graduation celebration recently. He's a young Black and Chicano man, and he has aspirations of becoming a teacher. Standing in front of our family, look, I had a chance to speak to him. I said, look at you. Out here interrupting cycles. You're a testament to what happens when we invest in our young Black and brown men. We need more Black and brown male educators so our young people can see themselves reflected in positions of power. That is the future that I'm invested in protecting. Not racial resentment, not flattening entire communities into enemies. I strive to be an interrupter. I'm proud to be one. And I have a responsibility to interrupt anti-Blackness within my own community and still fight for coalition in humanity and solidarity. Power benefits when Black and Asian communities see each other as enemies. And we're not. We need each other right now. And cities like Stockton remind me every day that another future is possible. Thanks for listening.
This seems to be a topic of conversation on TikTok right now about how Black Americans are choosing to opt out of being on the front lines against everything that's going on with this stuff that's outside that starts with I. White and non-white people alike have felt comfortable coming to the internet to say that Black people should not be sitting out of it on this one. And I want you guys to really think about what you're saying, because Black people have never had the option to opt out, and they are not really opting out now. They're just choosing not to be on the front lines because when they're on the front lines, only more brutality comes after that, and people die and nothing changes, and they've been fighting forever. If you really fucking think about it, Black people have never stopped being a target. Just because other people are targets now does not mean that Black people are still not a target. Do you know what I mean? Don't you think if they could sit this out, that they would sit out police brutality too? Also, they have, like I said earlier, they've been fighting this fight for a long time. And guess who didn't care? guess who said maybe you should follow the law, maybe you shouldn't be a criminal, maybe you shouldn't XYZ, finding every excuse in the book to justify the killings of innocent black people all over. So yeah, that's really rich. That's really rich for you guys to be telling black people that they need to be up and fighting. They have been fighting. They fight every single day of their lives. When they go outside, there is no guarantee that they are going to be safe from police brutality or just any type of brutality from the government, like like the prison system, like the judicial system, etc. These are all things that they cannot opt out.
Good morning. I came across a video, and about 30 seconds in, I saw where the video was going, and I said, nope, I want my peeps to watch this video with me.
So America, I came to talk to my Black Americans on TikTok. Now, I know that you guys are very relevant to anybody on TikTok, including myself. I am very relevant, and so are you. But here's the thing. You have a reach, right? You have a reach that your content and what you say reach other people. So I came to talk to you folks today. What's your problem with migrants? The way that I see you guys treating the Haitians. What's your problem? You realize that you treat your slave masters that have enslaved you for centuries better than you're now treating the Haitians. Why are you so mad at them? Because they came here and they work hard to achieve the things that they have while you lazy fucks sat on the farewell welfare system because your grandmother, mama, and everybody else was brought up on it. I, the people, just want to know. Because the majority of you that I see singing praises to that orange fuck, that's what you're on. Living in the projects. Majority of the Haitians don't live in projects. Click that. They do not. They work hard to live in good apartments for the kids. But Mr. Trump, here's the thing, Mr. Trump. Once those migrants go home, I want you to take off every single one of these able fucks off of the welfare system and take away their Obamacare too, sir. Any one of these able-bodied fucks that is talking Mr. Trump, I know you listen to me. Take away all their welfare from them and let them go clean in the nursing home, sir. No, Mr. Trump. They wanted you to get rid of. Thank you, sir. You're getting okay. All right, you're doing what they asked you to do, sir. But make sure that all those fucks are in the nursing home working and cleaning the shit out of your people's behind. Guys, these fucks are even more upset at people that look like me and them than they are the slave owners that have enslaved them for decades. Why are you so mad? Because migrants choose to come here and educate our children. They're not in prison serving life sentences or any sentence at all. They're excelling. Not our fault. I'd like you to look deeply into your own self and your own situation. Migrants come here with a mentality for a better life. You guys have the life right here. You guys didn't even want it. You threw it down the drain. And now you think that Mr. Trump deporting black and brown people is it's not gonna make your life better. But it will. Mr. Trump, here's the thing. I said no welfare for no able-bodied people in America. Take it away. We don't care about their kids because here's the thing. I didn't breed them to give them their kids, Mr. Trump. Take it away from all those fucks. And let's see how it works out for them, Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, here's the thing. You know what? They're really teaching me that I need to focus on what you're doing and realize that what you're doing is really not a bad thing, sir. It's really not a bad thing. So, Mr. Trump, can you agree with me that once you're finished deporting, all these great people that have worked, that have supported our economy, that those evil fucks want you to get out, Mr. Trump, can you just let me know when you take them off the welfare system and when we're going to give them those jobs, sir? Mr. Trump, you told us the other day that you were going to get jobs in the factories. Mr. Trump, that's a great job. Take them out of the cotton fields and put them right in the factories. Mr. Trump, I'm not against that either. I'm not against that, sir. But as long as you can promise me that you're going to take these fucks off of welfare, food stamps, Section 8, and Obama, whatever care it's called now, then, Mr. Trump, here's the thing. They will learn to appreciate life and appreciate sacrifices that families made to move to this America. So, Mr. Trump, once you succeed in getting what you want to get done, let's put the African Americans to work, sir. Sir, let's put them to work, sir. Please and thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I had no idea that for as denigrating and disrespectful she tried to be to African Americans, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, I had no idea that it was going to move into comedy. I had no idea that I would be sitting in agreement with her for as disrespectful and denigrating that she tried to be towards Black Americans. I had no idea that she was going to be making herself look like a plumb fool out here on TikTok and on YouTube, my dear. You will be over on YouTube spewing this nonsense. I had no idea that you would be making yourself look like the ignorant fool that you are, spewing racist, white supremacist talking points. I'm in agreement with you, ma'am. Mr. Trump put all of those people who are on welfare and Section 8, put them all off it. You know why, ma'am? Because it's not Black Americans who are the majority in receiving food assistance and housing assistance, Section 8 and welfare, as you call it. Yeah, it's not Black Americans. It's the people who descend from the likes of Donald Trump who receive the majority of those benefits. And here you are calling Donald Trump to put his people off of Section 8 and welfare. You are one ignorant fool, ma'am. It's Black Americans who work in this country. Nothing is handed to Black Americans for free. But you, ma'am, have told all of us that you believe what the white man, what the oppressor tells you about Black Americans. Why are Black Americans hands off and want nothing to do with immigrant communities? You just proved it, ma'am. You just showed everybody why Black Americans have washed their hands of immigrant communities, because you position yourselves to be tools for white supremacy. That's why. They don't have to spew the racist talking points. They don't have to spew it because ignorant Black people like yourself, you do it for them. Baby, I just thank you, ma'am. Thank you for showing everybody, for proving Black Americans' point, for helping everybody else to understand why Black people are not stepping up to the plate to help the immigrants who are having to deal with the vengeance of the white supremacists who are in Donald Trump's administration. You just showed the whole world why we are like, y'all are on your own. Thank you, ma'am. I don't think I could have done it better myself. And you know what? I looked through your page. You had a lot of shit to say to Black Americans, but you had nothing to say to Megyn Kelly, who basically used her platform with millions of followers telling you and your people to get out of this country.
And look, this has been going on for over a dozen years. Go home. Get out. We know our country's better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic and our culture and our values. You being here only dilutes it for us, those who built it and live it. And half of you people, more than half, you won't assimilate. We don't want you. We don't care if you're offended. Get out. Go home. Go back to fucking Haiti. Sorry. I'm thinking about our friends in Ohio who've been dealing with these TPS Haitians for years now, who are drunk driving all over their towns and killing people. This is the whole cats and dogs thing. Like, they don't want to live like Americans live. And this was supposed to be it was supposed to be temporary help. And it's turned into another backdoor way of allowing someone permanent residency here. And they take advantage of all of our public services.
One thing Megyn was right about in her little racist rant about the Haitians is that, yeah, you guys come here and you get access to social services. You get access to the Section 8 and the food assistance programs and get the business loans. Yeah, you are a drain on our social services. Yeah, but you see, I'm not opposed to my tax-paying dollars going to immigrants who come to this country for protective status. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I don't mind paying my tax dollars towards that. It's people like Megyn Kelly who have a problem with it and don't mind telling you, get out. But you got all the smoke for Black Americans who are not getting these services, who do go to college and get educated and become productive members in this society. You got all the smoke and using racist, white supremacist talking points to try to denigrate and disrespect Black Americans. And you want Donald Trump to put all of the people off of Section 8 and welfare when it's his people that predominantly get those services. Bitch, he'll put all of y'all out before he does that. Listen, I'm really not feeling well today. I just had no idea that that video was going to turn so comical because she's making a complete and utter fool of herself. You can't help but laugh. I had no idea that that video was going to turn out to be that way. Anywho, yeah, I'm gonna stretch out on my couch and try to heal my body. But I'm sure I'm gonna chuckle as I remember this video throughout the. And for all of y'all immigrants that's gonna get down in my comment section and say, don't blame all immigrants for one bad apple. No, baby, she's not just one. She's one of many. Okay? Go play in somebody else's face. Go gaslight somebody else. I spend too much time on social media. She is not the only one. She is one of many. And Black Americans are just like, y'all got it. Good luck to you.
So I can understand why Black women want white people's hair. How beautiful that shit is.
Dude, please, give it a rest. People are tired. There is not a single Black person alive today that wants white people hair. And if that's what it takes to be a white person, then I don't want it. We've got racists on the internet thinking that their hair is hot shit. Mind you, that shit looks lifeless yet greasy at the same time. No thank you. Like, I wouldn't be dogging on white people's hair if they could shut up for one day. Just for one day. Because even when Black people straighten their hair, and they do, I see it every day, it is still a hell of a lot better than whatever that is. I could never imagine a Black woman going to their favorite salon and saying, you know what, I want that white girl hair. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone every single time a white person is trying to play in Black people's faces. Like, it's so freaking weird. Nobody wants to or should walk out in public looking like that. Just saying.
Non-toxic groups on Facebook where people live non-toxic lives and we're looking for non-toxic recommendations for the products that we use. And I made a Facebook post, this was a while back, and I was like, I'm looking for Black-owned non-toxic hair product recommendations for my entire family who has various hair types. And my post was just met with so many white women who are like, that's racist. Why are you looking for Black-owned? I'm telling you, this post got endless comments full of hatred. Like, it just kept coming and coming and coming. You support Black businesses to get rid of the racial wealth gap. Like, it's seriously the least that you can do. It's the easiest thing that you can do. So I was like talking with these people in the comments, and they're coming at me and they're attacking me. And it brought out a side of me that I'm not proud of, because I called them what they were. And basically, my entire post got taken down. And so I didn't get any answers. But if this isn't a really good example of how white people don't want Black people to succeed, I don't know what is. And so if you have any good recommendations for non-toxic products in general that are Black owned, I would love for you to drop them in the comments, because I did get a couple of answers, but the post got taken down so suddenly that I couldn't write them down. And then some that we found that we ended up trying just didn't work out the way that we hoped. We have hair types ranging from 4A to C and hair like mine. But I'm always looking for Black-owned businesses that I can support in general. And products that are non-toxic are a big...
Hello, good people. Thank you so much, guys, for always coming back. I truly appreciate your presence. In today's video, I want us to talk about white Americans versus Black Americans. You know, I want you to imagine this situation as a white person Okay, you are actually there scrolling your phone, and then you get to see people talking here and there. So, or probably you are watching an announcement. So in that particular announcement, it's about black people, and then you sit there expecting, uh, outrage. You expect arguments. You expect people to be furious, and then unexpectedly, you get to see the black Americans are celebrating. You see them smiling, cheering, and saying, finally, finally, finally. And then suddenly, you know, another question starts spreading out, probably in the same category of videos. I mean, why are they so happy about this? Because you see, this particular situation has made some white Americans to be like really confused, and many of them are genuinely surprised. Others asking, what are they missing? Because if you look from the outside, the reaction doesn't immediately make sense. But there is one thing, sometimes you cannot understand someone's reaction until you get to understand their history. So our story surrounds this particular issue, you know. It's our story actually begins because what looks like an unexpected celebration to this one group, it can represent in some way something much deeper to another group. So this is not just about one announcement, it's about memory, representation, and recognition, and the feeling of, you know, after so many years of watching certain things happen from the sidelines, yeah, something has finally shifted. So, my good people, in today's video, we are going to unpack the story. Why are Black Americans cheering? Why are some people completely caught off guard? And what does this action really reveal about America at the moment? So, the first thing that actually stood out wasn't the story itself, it was the reaction from the people. If you go to see, people started by sharing clips here and there, and then you get to see comments, and then social media blew up. So I know you're asking yourself, what's the big deal? Because that's another side of the story. You don't understand what this means, right? So that sentence in itself is very important because it tells us all something. And this particular disagreement was not necessarily about the event itself. It was about how different communities interpreted it. For some people, it was simply another political or cultural development. And for others, it felt like too personal because if you actually saw it, it touched something that had been discussed for generations, and suddenly something that looked ordinary became symbolic. That's how American politics and culture work. Like most of the time, you get to see this same event, what it can produce, and then you get to see a completely different emotions. That depends on who is watching. So as much as one person can see change, another person sees progress in the same event. Another one will see a long overdue correction. Another one else will actually wonder why is everyone making such a big deal about it. That's exactly what we are doing, We are actually analyzing these situations. So in order to understand what has been happening, of course you have to sit back, relax, and listen to us. Guys, you know what? Black Americans have actually lived through a uniquely complicated American history. I know we all know that there were generations of slavery that most of them went through. Then segregation followed. Then the long struggle for civil rights. Then so many years of debates over equality, representation, economic opportunity, jobs opportunity, political, power. And even after major legal changes, that conversation never disappeared. It actually evolved. Because you see, questions remained. Who is getting represented? Who is getting to be heard? Who are these that are getting opportunities? Is it the white or the blacks? Who will they believe? Is it the black guy or the white guy? And perhaps who gets to see themselves reflected in the institutions around them? So if you look at many black Americans, representation is not just about seeing someone with similar skin in a position of influence. No, it's about the representation of the of the communities. I mean, it's all about you belong here. You can actually reach this position. You have a voice. You are part of the story, That is why if you actually if you watched all the entire clips, you will actually see, some people being extremely emotional. Because you see, these stories by itself, I know it may only take a few minutes, but the meaning attached to it can actually stretch back to generations. I know you understand all about that. So let's now talk about the situation whereby you get to imagine two Americans watching the same event or function, and then one of them probably grew up believing that America was becoming increasingly equal, and they got to then they get to see this legal discrimination being dismantled. They get to watch Black Americans achieve positions that were once unimaginable. I mean, that look genuinely, believable, right? Because they'll believe that they've already made tremendous progress. So that necessarily doesn't mean that there is anything wrong. I mean, there has been enormous progress, right? But now, put yourself in the shoe of someone else whose parent or probably grandparents personally experienced discrimination, and some of them grew up hearing stories about doors that were closed, schools that were separated, neighborhoods that were divided, opportunities that were not equal in any way. If you put yourself in the shoe of that person, I can only honestly tell you that you may look at the same event completely different. Because to someone that has gone through this, that moment is not just isolated. It's connected to everything that came before it. And that's where people sometimes miss. People don't experience history as a textbook. They experience it through families, through stories, through memories, and through things that their ancestors or other grandparents told them. I mean, sometimes they get to go through these things that they actually were told. So now we want to understand, why are Black Americans cheering? Because that's the big question. And of course, you may really wonder, like, it could be something so simple than you could imagine. Because you see, people most of the time they celebrate when they feel seen because they get to think about it. I mean, imagine you spending so many years wanting recognition, and then finally you get to experience and see that recognition happening. That or that alone can be extremely emotional, honestly. You've actually spent so many years saying that we want our voices to be represented. We want representation. And then you see your community. There is someone there breaking through another barrier. That feels so important. And then you get to see people, being heard over and over. So that even becomes really legit. And it's not all about celebrating another group's loss, no. Let's differentiate there. Sometimes people are celebrating their own sense of progress, not that there is someone else or there is a group that lost. So we need to differentiate these two scenarios. So I don't know what to think about that. And if you talk about social media, I can honestly tell you that social media has really helped us. Video sharing platform has really helped us look into these particular issues and watch them and analyze them. So many white people, they're at a position whereby they don't really like to see a black person, faring on well, progressing. And that's why they'll find themselves asking, why are they even cheering? What does moments like this even represent to them? But you see, it's very important. Remember, we said that we are different in our own capacity. And this celebration was less about identity, belonging, and history. It's mostly about what Americans believe the country should look like. So I don't know what you think about that, guys. If you talk about political side of this story, it's way different. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.